All right, I think we got it. Jeez, sorry about that, guys. Alright, there we go, everyone. Welcome to Monday night edition of Airbrush Down and Dirty Tricks. Had a little hiccup. Everything was working, but I couldn't see the feed. I couldn't, when I clicked into my iPad where I view the YouTube channel and the Facebook channel, it wouldn't spool up the feed. So I couldn't see everything. So I reset the app a couple times, and it finally kicked in. Awesome technology. So, let's see. Sound. How are we doing sound? We got good video. Hope we're doing good. Let's see who we got in the house here. We have Michael McClung. We have Honey. What's going on? Kyle Shees. What's happening? Welcome. Gary Shees. Brian Moore. Michael Cohen. David the Bug. Gregory. What's we got here? London Penn. Just scrolling. Robert Meehan. Avis Mendez. Think I caught everyone's initial. If I didn't, I'm sorry. Mike Sasbo. How's it going? Look at all them gold skulls in here. Thank you, everyone, for popping in. Honey's already in with the super chat. Thank you so much for that. We're going to need him for this one. Over on Facebook, Alan, what's going on? Welcome from Mesa, Arizona. So, what do we got going on tonight? Let's see what we got. Let's go here. And this is what we're doing. And I don't know, did I print the actual reference I was supposed to print? Oh, I did. Good. Alright, so I posted a little bit of this last week. And I'm working on a new download set that's going to be really big. I did hit record, thank you. So this is going to be a new set that's coming out, and I made a couple of paintings with it. This is what I'm doing tonight. But the new set I got coming out is basically going to allow you to make stuff like this. Now what I'm painting tonight is a Servo Skull. A Servo Skull is part of the lore of Warhammer 40k, which I'm into, and I'm getting ready for Adepticon, so that's coming up in the near future, a couple weeks actually. So I want to paint something for that event, something I'm going to probably bring to that event, and I figured I'd do it here. It's going to be a big painting. It's not going to be your typical couple $100 bid. I got a lot of work into this. I will accept bids on it, but I got a reserve in mind on it, so it's got to hit that, or it's just going to come with me. I already got probably over a day into this painting. But what I did as part of that is I'm developing a whole new download. It's going to have all these different components here, like this whole unit be separate. These tubes, these are actually part of the biomechanical download set that's already available. The crown, the crest, the eye things, and I mix it with a lot of other tubes and a lot of other vertebrae and a lot of steampunk and architectural engineering, like just stuff. And that's going to really pair well with the gear one from a few weeks ago, the Killing Time piece, as well as a few other things. So this is going to be a bigger set. It's going to be available probably in a few weeks or maybe next week. So I'm going to do this painting this week, and it's going to be a two-part. It'll be tonight and it'll be Thursday, and I hope to finish it Thursday. And that's probably going to, I'm going to take a break from these live feeds for at least a week after, maybe two, because I want to focus a little bit on the tabletop gaming channel, which I'm going to put some stuff here as well in kind of relation to that. So I'll keep you all posted on the plan for what I'm doing there. But with that Adepticon event coming up in a few weeks, well, a few months, I got to start focusing on the channel and that. So I'm not taking a break from this channel. I just might not do a live feed next week just so I can get some tabletop content done. But I might do a live feed with the tabletop stuff. I'll see and just kind of work it out. But so this is what I have happening. So this is based off a painting, not based, but I've done one like this before. which was my Steam Nouveau piece, which is available, prints and stuff on McKay Fine Art. And that was done on a brass panel, a brass brushed panel. This is a copper anodized panel. So it's an aluminum panel that's anodized copper. I tried to get a copper panel in time, but I couldn't get one in time to do a straight copper piece, and it's 3 times the money. This wasn't a cheap panel either. And the initial one I did actually 2 of these. The first one, I laser etched, and it was too... I put settings up too high. So let me show you that, what it was. And I think you'll agree that, although it'd be cool with a lot of candy on it, I wanted it more of a ghosted effect. So this was the initial one. So you see it burnt through all the anodizing straight to the aluminum, so it's almost white. And candied over, this would be really cool. But I didn't want to have that effect, so I redid it. I actually made it a little bit bigger. This was, you know, I think this was like 12 by 11 by 14, the whole panel. This one's much bigger. This is 12 by, the copper panel is 12 by 16, and then we got an inch surround. So we got 13 by 17 is the actual. So this panel is just like this, if anyone's interested when they start bidding on it. But like I said, this is not going to be a $200 piece, $300 piece. It's going to be considerably more. I bonded it to this panel, so it's got a 2-layer effect when it's framed. It's going to really have a good industrial look. But if you know anything about that lore, 40K, it's really, really heavy on that. So I'll give you a quick... I got to read some of these comments in a second. I'll give you a quick rundown. I did this earlier. This was the video I did earlier. Then you can see what basically breaks down what I did to the panel. So here, check this out. You know, so I cut the panels to size, spray adhesive to them, got them really on there, clamped them down heavy, let it sit for about an hour. Then I unmasked and remasked it, set the laser, and the first pass is a light engrave, so it just tints it. And then I went around and did like a really heavy etch, like a cut file around it, so it's got like a little outline. And then I did the mask, picked and weeded it, and then did the old hinge transfer tape, got it into position just perfectly, matching those spots. A lot of technical work in this painting, a lot of planning. So that's why I have so much time. That's why Friday night didn't happen. And I got to this point here, and ready to rock and roll. And that's what we got. So we ended up right here. It's a really cool thing to paint on, you know, metals. And this is a brush metal. I did scuff it down. And this is going to be all candy, so you're going to see that reflection of that metal coming through. It's a really cool effect. And so we'll talk about some of the candies we're going to do, how we're going to paint it. It's a laser. It's a freaking laser. Let's see here. I actually finished the model today. Oh, what'd you finish? You got to send me a pic. Brian Moore. I'm going to just scroll back here what I miss. Oh, Chris Garcia, how's it going? Darren Plank, what's going on? Mr. Leahy! Steve, we got to do a Fallout night. It's been a while. Brian Moore. Thanks for painting it. I actually have finished them all. I know what you mean by finished. Totally. Okay, cool. Caught up. That's cool. Yep. Thank you, thank you, thank you. While I'm here, let's thank all my amazing gold skulls. More and more and more, you guys. Thank you for all your subscriptions and helping this channel grow. Big shout out to everyone. Thank you very much. Let's talk about the paint. The colors I'm mixing up, and I actually did a few videos on these before. Yes, Fallout 76, the game. I play quite often. I play almost every day, at least an hour or so a day, if I can. So let's talk about the paint we got going on here. I've made these colors before. There's actually a YouTube video on Createx Colors page that you can go look at how I mix them. But this is how I mix the two colors. So I got the I got the espresso shot, which is like a dark, dark brown, almost black. And that is 3 parts grabber orange, 2 parts dirt track brown, and 1 part black. This is all candy. And that's I mix those tints first as their own. And then the dirty penny is 3 parts grabber orange, 1 part dirt track brown. And you can adjust from here and there depending what you want. So what I do is I mix those together. Then I mix 1-to-1 for airbrush. I do the 40-50 and then an equal part of those mixtures. So it's 1-to-1. If you feel you need reduction, you can add some 40-21. I don't do much, if anything. I don't really do it at all. But if you need it, you can do like a couple, 5%. Start with that, see how it goes. But you really don't need it. Michael McClung. Thank you very much, my friend. Dan, thanks for that. Raffin Customs. Oh, I was trying to keep up. Michael Cohen, what's going on? So this panel, I want to say it's probably 040. It may be like, oh wait, yeah, I think it's 040, 040. It's not super thick, which is, it's fairly flexible. It might be 5, 050, but it's basically like an etching plate. But it's too flimsy on its own. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to bond it to a 1/4-inch polymetal, and I figured I'd give it that relief around the edge. So basically it gets stacked, because I'm going to paint some rivets around it, so it's going to look like it's riveted to the board. And I actually thought about drilling and put some actual rivets in it, depending, what happens with the piece down the road. So that's kind of where I'm at there. Makes sense? Yeah, I'll do just a nice wide shot of the panel. Yeah, so you can see it's my standard aluminum panel. So it's 13 by 18, and this is 12 by 17. I meant to do 12 by 18, and as I was drawing it, the scale was weird, so I kept the inch off. And yeah, and maybe I'll put some striping, or maybe I'll laser etch some design work here later. It depends. I really just want to make this kind of a cool piece. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit there. I did get the California. Yeah, good, man. The California air compressor is a great unit. I have it. I love it. I think it's a really killer piece. It just works really. It's solid. Yeah, I got a big one for the shop. I got a 4-horse. It's got the 3 heads on it. It's a nice machine. So let's do a top down with the top down piece. So this is what we got going on. So I've talked about this before and how I paint. I usually paint from background to foreground when I'm on a light color surface, so that's what we're doing here. That's why I pre-weeded this out. And I want to make the winged skulls here from Games Workshop Warhammer look like they're inset. And yeah, did you get the big 60-gallon? That's what I got. So how much 40-50? Okay, so when you're doing airbrush, it's 1-to-1, equal parts. So like a full, if you do like a 1/4 ounce of candy mix, you do a 1/4 ounce of 40-50. That's because the candy concentrate is so thin, it actually reduces the 40-50 enough as it is. So you don't need to add more reducer. Unless you need, I mean, you can. If you find like you're going through a micron and you want to flow, then you can totally add more reduction. But 1-to-1. When you're doing spray guns, I always got to look at it. I want to say it's either 6-to-1 or 8-to-1. So 6 parts 40-50 to 1 part. Or it might be 4-to-1. It might be 4-to-1. So you just have to look it up. It's on the tech sheet for spray gun. And I know I did it in the Createx video, but just off the top of my head I can't. I always got to check. That's why you should always check always check your tech sheet. It makes life a lot easier. So you mixed the 3 parts. No. So this is where mixtures, let's break down the mixtures. I'm gonna bring this up here first. Okay. And I'm gonna bring my ugly mug up here. Let's talk about paint mix. The first part off to the side, the espresso shot and the candies, that's just candies mixed together themselves. It's not put in the 40-50 or 40-30 or anything. That's just to get the color tint. So that's to make its own basically candy concentrate. Okay, so you mix those 3 to 2 to 1, the 3 to 1. That's your candy color. Okay, that's not sprayable. That's just the tint. That's just the dye, the toner, the candy concentrate, whatever you want to call it. Once that color's mixed, then you can do your standard sprayable mix, which is equal parts. So it's 1 to 1. So 1 part of that equal parts of that candy mixture to 1 part 40-50. Just like if you were mixing a normal, if you were mixing black candy, normal, you would just take, an ounce of this to an ounce of this, and that's your mixture. Okay. To mix a custom color, you do your custom color mix, basically this first, and then it's equal parts of those. That's how you want to do it. You go the other way, you're going to be too concentrated. All right. If that doesn't make sense, let me know. Mixtures do get complicated, especially if you come from more of a water-based background, t-shirts, murals, where you just kind of pour a little thinner and you go. When you do automotive, you get so used to, 3 to 1 to 1, 2 to 1 to 1. You get used to all these mixes, how they go. So, we kind of take it for granted on the water-based side. We go through it pretty easy. But yeah, that's just how the mixtures work. So Dan, let me know if that cleared it up for you. So this is the piece that we're doing. We're going to do a paper cut skull later on. That'll probably be Thursday, because that'll be one of the last pieces we do. Because remember, we work from background to foreground. So starting into the background, we'll start working some of this stuff, and we'll work our way up to the piece. Sequentially, that's why I talk about sequential masking, because you're going to work in a certain order. And you're going to go from darker to light. So you're going to get this background really dark, and we're going to work there first. And we're going to keep coming up through the stencil, identifying what's on top of what, and painting our way up through that. So, but I think this came out pretty cool. The laser etch is pretty wild. It's a benefit to having a laser cutter as well. And what I did is I put like a 20% laser at 200 millimeters a second, and just took a little. You can't feel this at all. It's barely even there. So once the candy over this, it'll just have a really cool look, which is kind of what I'm going to do. And the colors I got mixed here is my bench, another rotisserie. Still love it, Mike. Thank you. So this is our Dirty Penny, which is that first mixture. This is our espresso shot. And then what I did is this is equal parts. It's actually a little bit more black candy to dirt track brown. So it's almost black, but it's still got a little brown tint to it. And this is going to be all done in candies because I don't want to lose any of this metal reflection coming through. So I'm going to start with a lighter. I'm going to go from light to dark. I'm going to work my lighter colors first and build them. Because we're going to add a little grit and texture. So I'm going to put this in my Eclipse. And we're just going to do a slight tint. Let's look at our color here. Let's do this. How about that? So it's a really nice orange. I call it Dirty Penny because it's a very shiny penny copper color, which is perfect for this. As you see, it almost doesn't do much. And when you're working off bare, you're not working on sanded paint, those first couple layers, you gotta really layer them in soft. If you go too wet, you will mottle and puddle it a little bit. And I'm not going to overkill it, but I'm going to make sure I hit everything, especially here. There's the winged skulls. I love the paint to see. The lazy, the Marigo paint. Oh my god, you just came up with a whole bunch of names. And this is a great time if you want to add some grit and texture, because we are painting the Grimdark 40K style. We can add some grit and texture to it. And even if you think it's going away, when I clear this, that delineation is going to come through. Like, I don't want these logos to be like massively apparent. I just want them to kind of come and go in the background. So it is a little scary. Around this edge, we're going to do a little water spritz, okay? This is the only time you can do like water texture or like grunge effects texture with this paint. Because once you start layering artwork you want to stay, it's going to reactivate everything you do. So I'm going to just do a little water, and then a little IP, a little isopropyl. It'll actually make it run and be a little weird. And that isopropyl will kind of dry out. And you'll see. Do you ever get anxiety? Yeah, I do. When I'm doing it for a customer, a little bit less because no one's watching. When I do this on a live feed, I have more anxiety. Just because I'm going to be, doing it live. If something happens, you got to get the nose and go, you know, from people. Because you got to get trolls that are going to use that. So I'm going to do another pass over this. I want to get a little grunge everywhere. Because I don't want it all clean and pretty. Let's do a little water spritz again. Well, and here's the thing. This is why I don't tattoo. Because if I don't like the way this comes out, I can just start another metal panel. If it's on a motorcycle... If it's on a motorcycle, that's why I always work over cleared base coat. If you clear it, and then you sand it, and you do the artwork over that, if you mess up, you don't like something, you can wipe it off. You can go back. It's not advised, but you do have some buffer zone. There are nervous times where you can't. But that's just part of anything creative, especially when you do it live or you do it professionally. You have to kind of get over it or just do it. Luckily, I mean, I've been doing it long enough, 36 years as of this year. I started in '89, so yeah, 36 years. So you get a little over, you get a little bit over it, but the anxiety never fully goes away, to be honest. Okay. All right, so I like the way that looks, I think. Let's get anything that's wet. I'm just going to pat it off. This is... I showed you guys this when I did the Killing Time. Same trick. With solvent, you can use like grunge effects, you can use like water, you can use like spray cleaners and all sorts of stuff like that. But like, see, I just wiped, and I wiped some of that off. So I can just put a little more back and just hit it. Just dab, 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 dab. And a lot of it just does come with practice and experience. But see, I wanted this to look like an old... If you know anything about the Warhammer universe, it's very dark, it's very grim, it's the year 40,000 years in the future. Everything is... There's only war, to get technical. So, it's got to be gritty. So I wanted this to look like an old, like, etching plate. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that espresso shot, which is the next color up as well. This one looks like it would be good with that one green that you have. One green that they don't make anymore. Which green's that, Mike? I'm not sure. Are you talking about like doing like a copper, like patina green, or Spirit Customs? Thanks. Yeah, this is gonna be a fun painting. This is gonna be great. I'm really digging it already. And now you can kind of see why this is not going to be just a quick, short muddy paint. So this is espresso shot. So it's basically it's a darker mix of this. So that way you get a really heavy. You get a nice drop shadow. It mixes really nice together. It can be super strong, so I don't want to overdo it. I'm going to put some just under here. So this is just for the texture. I'm going to do another round of texture on it. I want this really gritty. There's Grumpy RC's in the house. What's going on, man? Same thing. So I find the water's cool. You can leave the water, it'll do its job, but when you hit it with isopropyl, which is really aggressive, it has a really cool look if you just spritz it. It like eats it. Let's see if the side shot shows it a little bit different. Yeah, see what it does? It kind of like makes it like spread out. It's really kind of cool. Oh, yeah, that green, it's not really green. It's actually like a chameleon pearl. You can get something pretty close to it now. That was tequila sunrise. I still have some. But yeah, it was basically used in money, so that's why they got rid of the ability to buy that particular pigment, so you can't really get it. So, I mean, now this just has a really cool look, and you'll see that logo. See how it goes like golden? That's what I love about this, is you just get that really cool piece. It's almost like when you look at like the old like religious paintings where they would have the gold leaf and the halo lit around stuff. It would just be really cool. That's sci-fi Giger. Yeah. There's a lot of Giger influence in the 40K universe. I want to get some really dark color under here. I want to get this pretty dark. I want this to look like it's embedded, because I'm going to get this border probably done tonight and started on here, and it's going to be hard to follow along. Gem Jade. Yeah, I think that was a Createx one. It was Tequila Sunrise and House of Color. It was Maple and Sherwin-Williams. There was a few different ones. That they did it with. And I've had some pretty good offers for the pigment powder I have from people doing cars that did it. Like one guy was offering like $800 an ounce of powder for it. And I thought to myself, well, if they're offering that now, it's just going to go up. And I kind of feel bad because I've done a couple bikes with it. And I kind of don't want to get rid of it in case the customers I did the bike for have issues. So I kind of save it in the vault for them. I did inform those customers that if they ever scratch those bikes, be prepared for ridiculous repair cost. No, they weren't making fake money, but every currency in the world uses it as a security feature of their money. So basically all the different mints around the world, basically the US included, said it's no longer available to purchase unless you basically are making money with it legally. So yeah, it was just a way to keep it. Like if you own it, they can't take it away. It's not illegal to own, but just they basically told manufacturers you can no longer sell that exact pigment. They have, like I said, they have ones that are close to it now, that'll pretty much do the job. And put them side by side, there's a noticeable difference. But if you did like a car and then did another car, they will look just as awesome. So, yeah, just the only problem with doing this is now it's really hard to see all my cut lines in here. So I want to try to be really careful here, and I want to try to take some of this off in really intricate areas without this is what's a little nicer with water base is I can be a little bit more, I can play a little bit more with it. So basically I'm removing, so you can see what I'm doing. I'm removing all this kind of overspray in the main areas so I can see where all my cut lines are. I'm trying not to do, because there's a lot going on here. There's a lot. Because I have all these cuts in here. So, you know, all these are cut already. So I need to be able to see where everything is. So I'm just going to take my time. Like I said, that's why I'm doing this a two-parter. See all those little cuts in that hose. These tubes, these are all done with the biomechanical brush set, which is available on McKay Fine Art. Oh, Gary's got a solid opening bid. Not meaning reserve. I do have reserve that I'm sticking to. And just like anything else, I'm going to keep that private. Because I don't want to color people's bidding and things like that. So, but that's solid. You know, this is just going to have... Like I said, yeah, this wasn't going for $250, $300. It just couldn't. I got that in the laser time today alone. Almost. It was almost 2.5 hours of laser time. That was after all the design. But it's going to be a cool piece. This is going to be about the same level of work. If you go to McKay Fine Art, you'll see my Steve Nouveau piece, which Steve Nouveau is done the same way as this, pretty much. It's actually got some of the same elements in it. I think that's got enough for me to see what's happening. Cool. I did say laser. All this was laser cut, laser done. But yeah, I mean, see, like, look at that already. That's when that's cleared, you're gonna still have that, and this is gonna have to get a really cool frame. But look at that grit and texture. You know, it just, that's why I do all the masking like this. You know, look, I love freehand, but you wouldn't be able to do all this freehand and then all this laser and everything else. It's just bringing it to a different level is what I'm trying to do. But you this is what I got. Nice, Mike. I just bought a new Harley, so my bidding power is low. Dave, I get it, man. No worries. So this is going to be around for a bit. It's going to be a two-parter. I'm just popping back through the feed to see if I can see anything. Yeah, there's almost no one watching on Facebook. Facebook's just dead. It's just dead. I don't even know if people get the advertising. I was trying to tell Doug Dorr that. It's like, no one even looks at it half the time. Okay, so let's get up in here. Because if I'm going to pull this masking, I have to get my darkest dark. So I'm going to really hit this drop shadow heavy. And I'm going to do some streaks maybe. Make some staining and just make it look really cool. And I'm going to hit this really dark up in here. Oh, make it to the actual darker color. Austin Powers would be proud, yes. What was the recipe? It's actually in the description, but I'm going to bring that up for you again. So that's the mixture for the colors. So I'm using espresso shot right now. So this is what we're going to use for the dark. And I'm going to basically top down light source. I'm going to do these wings. Basically, I want that to look like it's indented into the metal. Let me see if I can get this up here. You guys can see what I'm doing. See if I can get that to focus in. And I gotta get a little brighter. Okay. Got that? Cool. But I put it in the description, so you guys, if you need those recipes, they're in the description. Alright, so I want top-down light source. I want to look indented. This is the espresso shot. So I'm going to hit that dark there. Dark here. Just under this wing. Just little subtle. Just to make it look like these are indented in. Yeah, man, that texture, it's so risky to do because you don't want to mess everything up. But man, it does. Just look at that. It already looks patinaed. It's a great way to do it. Definitely smash that like, share this thing. Like I said, this is going to be a big project. It's going to take a few. I'm either going to work on some of it like outside. Like it won't be fully. I won't do the whole. I don't think I would do the whole thing live. I'm going to try to do most of it live, but I think when I get to this monotonous tubes and stuff, I'll probably do a lot of those off camera, or at least pick them so it's a little bit ready. Sorry, let me get that up there. But yeah, it's just got a really cool look. I can't wait till this one's candied. But if you go to McKay Fine Art, you can actually see the Steam Nouveau piece. And what that looks like all framed up and done, it just looks great. Alright. Alright, so let's get some drop shadow going. So I want to make sure these are nice and dark. Because here's the thing, you gotta really watch your contrast on this, because if you don't get enough darkness here, when you get to these higher levels, you can't go as dark or it's gonna look flat. You gotta push the depth. So you can't be afraid here to really push some depth. Like I want those kind of spires to look like they're really sticking up. It could be almost fully black here, because even though, see how black that looks? When the light hits it, it shows through plenty. So you got to keep moving it and make sure you're exactly where you want it. Oh, Mike, welcome to the Down and Dirty Trickster live feed. Thank you for popping in for your first time. Definitely hit that like button. I usually do these Thursday. Last Thursday and Friday. I was going to do this last Friday. I came with this idea last week and said I've been wanting to do it because of Adepticon coming up. And I had the design done on Friday, and I did the laser cut. It was about 5 o'clock. We did the first, when I got this first test run ready. And this was the one I was going to paint. And then I realized how small everything was. And then I lasered it too much, so it turned white. So that's why I backed off. And it was a good thing I did, because I needed quite a bit of refinement to get it done. So now I'm going to hit all these drop shadows here, because I really want lift. So I'm keeping an idea of my top-down light source. And I'm bringing that, see how that hose, I'm bringing it just away? By bringing it away, that shadow, it's going to give it lift. This one here, same thing. I'm going to put it away. And that's going to create lift. Again, that looks like, when I'm looking straight at it, it looks like 100%. When you go up, see, you can see right through it. So you just got to keep that in mind. You got to keep moving it and seeing what you got. And I'll pretty much do this whole painting with these two colors. See, I'm making the shadow away from that just to give it lift, but where it's touching the surface, I want to bring it right to it. I'm just keeping an eye on that silhouette, what it should look like. And you know, this is the thing, I'm not going from photo reference. I don't have anything to go by, so I'm taking my best guess of what this should look like. I'm just trying to create that dynamic pop. Yeah, Sharon will be a little bit. A lot of it for me comes down to what can I do. Like, I would never try to do this one in 2 hours only. This one's got way too much going on. But I knew I could do a little bit of this online, record some of it. Because I got to start, you know, the one thing I've been really missing lately is I'm not doing enough edited content. The lives are great, but they don't get the traction like a good edited video does. So I need to start doing some of these paintings a little bit more off camera. Like Steve's doing a great job because he's doing stuff and they're putting up the time lapses and some video content and stuff I'm not doing, and that's what I really need to be doing more of. So pushing that shadow back. I'm really going to do a lot right here. I'm going to really set that back. Keeping that dark. Details, detail, exactly. Yeah, actually, yes, exactly. So John Blanche, it's funny as you say that, because I finally just got this. And for those who don't know who John Blanche is, I'm not going to say he created the look of 40K, but he kind of did in that Grimdark style. His work is just amazing. So yeah, I actually just got The Rise of Grimdark, which his work is just tremendous. It's classic. It's really dark and rich, and you know, so I wanted to kind of get a piece that's like that. But You're obviously not copying his stuff. But yeah, and I wanted a piece to bring to Adepticon. I'm going to be painting, you know, for Adepticon and teaching at it, miniatures and stuff, but I wanted to bring just some artwork that's more artwork related as well. Anyone here going to Adepticon? I don't know if anyone's into that. Yeah, I think, yeah, he's pretty much, from what I gather. I just got into Warhammer 2 years ago. I remember seeing it as a kid. I remember seeing Space Hulk and all that stuff, and I just never... I was kind of older teenager when that came out, so I never really got into it. Man, I wish I did, because now buying the old stuff is expensive. But yeah, he's pretty much responsible for like the look and feel, which I think is a riot, because they just came out with a new John Blanche paint set through Army Painter, which is another paint company, which is kind of a rival paint company to Games Workshop. And Games Workshop he worked for years, and they didn't think to do a paint set by him. Such a missed opportunity. Alright, so this, I'm going back. The dark shadows, I was using the espresso shot. Oh man, what's going on, the Bug King? What's happening? Thank you for popping in. Yeah, I didn't want to post this on John's page, because I figured, you know, I don't want to use his page to promote my stuff. So thank you for popping in and checking it out. Nice to meet you. Welcome to the channel. Let's switch back here. There we go. And we're back. So yeah, and I wanted to do a Servo Skull that was like paid homage to it, but had some of my style, my twist on it. You know, we'll just see how it comes out. See if people like it. Yeah, I still haven't found out where I gotta talk with Iwata, because I'll be painting with Iwata and teaching with Iwata. There, and this is what I'm going to be painting. This is going to be the masterclass piece, which is going to be the oops, wrong one. So this is going to be the priest we're doing. This is from Creature Caster. So this is the advanced one, and then we're doing these guys for the beginner airbrush class. We're doing these guys. This will be the beginner class. So I gotta get these ready to go and figured out. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be painting at Adepticon. So we'll have to definitely meet up, man. Thank you for popping in. Okay. So like I said, I really need to get the background established to where I want it. We're gonna do some. Let's do the old school stippling trick. Remember that? Yeah, Creature Caster's been great. They basically gave us, because me and Joe Othaber are teaching the masterclass together. His work's tremendous. So he's had a relationship with them for a while. So they basically gave us access to their whole catalog. So we're going to do a popsicle stick trick and just get some splatter in there. And we'll just mat it down and just look at that. We'll just smear some and just see what happens. Happy little accidents. One more water spritz. One more texture. Yeah, Joe's great, man. I was great. I haven't met him in person, but we've talked a bunch. We've done a couple online meetings. So we're going to do some online paint meetups beforehand. So I'm really looking forward to teaching with him and merge my skill set with his skill set. You know, I just got back into painting, you know, figures a couple years ago when I did the video for Iwata, where I did the Cursling from Warhammer, from Age of Sigmar, sorry. And then that got me back into it, and that's where I spent all my money. What did you do to treat the copper accent panel? Oh, so for those just joining, let me bring up what I did, because this is an aluminum panel that's anodized copper color brushed. I want to get a real aluminum copper panel, but I just couldn't source one in time this big. They were too small. And then what I did is it's brushed, and then I treated it, and I laser etched the skull, the winged skull sigils or symbols into it. So let me get my iPad up on screen. So this was the process of this panel. So you can see, this was on the YouTube channel. Gonna have to call my honey. Thanks for popping in. Thank you for the super chat. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you for the support, and I'll see you Thursday night, hopefully. Get some sleep. So yeah, so I basically affixed a copper panel to it, prepped it, scuffed it, then I laser etched the design in, engraved it, and then I did a second pass where I cut the outline in, so it gives it a relief. And then this is plotting the mask, which is picked and weeded on here now. And then did this, and where we are tonight. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, see, I still, like I said, I'm 2 years in, and there's so much lingo. I remember it, then I lose it. So, but I appreciate the info, because I go to look that stuff up and I just go down the rabbit hole. But yeah, this is the actual design, what it's going to be total. So I looked up a lot of different people's ideas on Servo Skulls, and you know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and this is what I came up with for the idea. So this is what's already cut into here, and then we'll start masking and pulling that as we go, and it'll be a really cool painting. Yeah, no, this is going direct onto the copper plate. So normally you would have to do a primer first, but I've done this a few times. And you got to be careful with it, but you do a good scuff and prep. And the nice thing about this, the Createx paint, which is also what New Worlds is based out of, the music is on. God damn it. Oh, that thing's still looping. Sorry. So 4050 is a UV-LS gloss that Createx makes. This stuff sticks to everything. It's basically a water-based polyurethane clear. It's also additive for the candy. This stuff will damn near stick to anything. It's almost like a heat promoter. So you can get away with it direct on metal as long as you got a good scuff. If this was bare, shiny, polished metal, I wouldn't do it. It would pop off. But because it's brushed and I did scuff it with red Scotch-Brite, I'm going to get a bite with this stuff. If this was sitting outside the elements, I probably wouldn't do it. Or I would have put and what I would have done, and I've done this with direct metal before, if you're going to go direct metal on chrome or ground metal, and I've done this quite a bit, the water-based stuff sticks to aluminum and copper plates direct because of the bonding agents. If it's a solvent, you actually got to put a heat promoter down first. So we would use something automotive grade called APO1 from House of Color, or Bulldog, which is an adhesion promoter. And basically you let that sit, and then you can paint direct on it, and you're going to get a bond. So that's one of the ways to do it. Hey man, I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's give you a big thank you for your first super chat. Really appreciate it. So yeah, so I've done a lot of ground metal panels. We've done a lot in the automotive industry. There's ways to bond it and get it to stick. And the nice thing about with this water-based, with the Kratex colors, is they're DTS, a direct-to-surface. Which is why I've worked with them with the New Worlds paint. That's basically not even, it's out, but it's not really known too much yet. All their colors are direct, so you don't even need a primer on any of their colors, which is why I like using it. Because I can mix whatever color primer and go direct to plastic. So that's why I'm using it on all the figures. And that's one thing that's going to be showing there quite a bit. And this is why I've been doing it for so long like this. Yeah, and that's kind of the stuff I'm trying to bring to the table. I've been airbrushing since '89, so I've been doing it 36 years. And I've been doing it professionally on automotive, especially since the 90s, and full-time since 2000. So I've done a lot with almost every painted surface. And during that time, I always also did models and resin kits, and I used to do the statues and the chiller theater shows, and used to do all that. And just a miniature here and there. I did miniature way back in the lead days when I was a kid. So this kind of brought all that back out. And so I'm kind of taking the knowledge I've done on motorcycles and custom paint and fine art for years and seeing if I can bring that into the tabletop and gaming space and scale model space. So there's so many similarities. And, you know, I've watched a lot of the videos for years, and most of the guys do it well. There's a lot of bad information on airbrush use out there, and I'm hoping to kind of correct some of that, at least help out where I know things. So I've worked with Iwata and a lot of airbrush companies and paint companies for years, so I'm trying to just merge it and go from there. I have the sample set at New Worlds. It was in a goodie bag at Resin Beast. Oh yeah, no, it's good stuff. Thoughts on Kratex glow in the dark paint? So actually, on the night haunts I'm painting for my army, I'm using their UV reactive. The thing about glow in the dark paint, no matter who makes it, and I've worked with, I'm not going to say every paint company because that would be wrong, but I've worked with many paint companies, decades, on different paints and glow paints. There's some that's charge and glow, which, you know, you put under light, you wait, charge it up, you shut the lights off, it glows for a while. It's cool. Then you have UV reactive glow, which is basically they react to UV invisible light. So when you shine the light, you don't see it. You see it with just that light, but you don't see it with normal light. Those are great. They all work great. The problem with them is, and they're used heavily at Disney. They're used heavily. We've done a lot of work with Disney on it. On the paint companies, we've done a lot of work with Disney. They're mostly for dark rides, which rides that don't see sunlight. They don't see a lot of bright natural light either. In sunlight, UV, even the high-end expensive automotive grade, they don't even warranty it really, but it's 6 months in the sun. 6 months in the sun, it's dead. It doesn't work anymore, no matter how much clear coat, no matter how many UV inhibitors you put on top of it. In 6 months, it starts to fade, starts to break down, just like fluorescents do the same thing. It's just how the paint's manufactured. The pigments just don't last. It's gotten better, but it's still, you know, more of a novelty, good for indoor use, good for dark rides, things like that. So you can have fun with it, but don't put too heavy a stock in it lasting a long time, for years and years and years, unless you really keep it under control. And I'm not selecting any paint company out. It's just the nature of the chemicals and the pigments that are available in the world. It's just how they work. It's gotten better, but it's never going to be 100%. So yeah, but like then you have the electroluminescent, which is Lumalor, which is the electrified paint I've done work with. I've done a lot of motorcycles with it. We did the Tyrannosaurus Rex at the Museum of Natural History in New York. Now it travels. That's the light up paint, which you actually run wires to the paint and turn the paint on and off. If you go to my thinairgraphics.com site, if you go to the gallery to Lumalor, you can see the T-Rex I did for them. That's a totally different animal. I've had those. I did, the trike I did is going on almost 10 years now since I did that trike, and it still lights, and it still lights beautifully. That's because it's a different type of animal. That stuff is, you know, really toxic. So it lasts forever. It's got a half-life. From what I gather, after 10,000 hours of use, it goes to its half-life. It'll pretty much stay like that light forever. Yeah, man, the Disney stuff. Oh, cool, yeah. So I've done some work with Disney, and Kratex New Worlds is made by Createx, is the manufacturer of the paint. And Createx did a lot of work with Disney, and a lot of my friends who work at Disney. I've worked with some guys down in Florida, and they use a lot of different products, but the Createx Colors and Scenics is one of them. And yeah, they get painted all the time. I know they did a paint for the railings, just the railings at the water park. I think they said they had 3 sets. One that's on, one that's being prepped and repainted, and one that's ready to go on. Almost everything on all like the railings and stuff. So yeah, Disney's got it on. Disney's got it on lock. So yeah, and they're very discerning. Like you can't have a product that's half-assed or they won't use it. And the testing is pretty rigorous. So yeah, I've had a lot of friends who've done some work in there. I never have officially, but I've worked with a lot of guys that do, and yeah, it's great. So that's what I'm doing here. All right, so I think I like the tone of this. What I'm going to do, that's the darker one. I'm going to take my like black candy, which is the color I made, which is like 2 parts black candy to 2, it's actually 1-to-1. So yeah, it's 2 parts, so 1-to-1 of black candy and dirt track brown. This is going to be my darkest color. It's pretty much black, but I want to make sure I have solid delineation to really create that depth under here, because once I pull this mask, oops, I don't want to be remasking it if I don't have to. Yeah, the railings get a lot, and we're surprised because they used to be painted with Emerald back in the day, and I know one of the paints on the Scenic side, which is the water-based, I know they had good luck with that, from at least that's the story I heard from the manufacturer. I actually used the Scenics on my pool. Yeah, and the chlorine didn't touch it. And neither did the sunblock, which I'm sure if you work with Disney, you know how sinister sunblock is on rides. Cool. Alright, so I think I'm good. I need to hit that dark. I want to make sure that's like a deep pocket that goes. What do we got for time here? Not bad for an hour. Like I said, this is going to go into Thursday. Thursday's feed will be same time, 8 o'clock, and it'll be a continuation of this. And then I'm going to start working on my other channel and the content for Adepticon. And the other channel is Tabletop Airbrush. We're going to get ready for that. That's going to be YouTube. There's only like 18 people on it. I haven't put any, I put like 2 pieces up there. But I'm going to start doing stuff here that's going to also content over there, because I want to have a dedicated channel just for Tabletop. So it doesn't get too confusing. So hoping, oh, that's my little fisheye filter, which I use on all my stuff to keep the moisture out. And yep, Tabletop Airbrush, that's going to be the new YouTube channel we're doing. I said I think I got 2 videos up there right now, but nothing substantial. So I'll really start promoting that probably next week. After I get done with this feed, we'll start talking about that. That way it's not confusing and I have everything in place. All right. Oh yeah, the miniature. Yep. So it's going to be that. It's going to be, that's the plan anyway. It's going to be Tabletop Airbrush. I think I have it active, so you can, yeah, if you look it up, you can find out. Air purifier. So in here I have a regular booth over here. You know, one of the the Amazon spray booths for doing models. It's all water based, and that goes through a pre-filter and then vented. And then the shop, I have an actual. This is my studio, filming studio, so I just have that. I don't run it during live feeds because it's too damn loud in the cameras. So we just kind of wing it, and then once we're done here. Oh, cool. And then the shop, I have a full filtration system for the shop, but I'm running solvents and stuff out there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to pull this off. Now you'll see, if I did it right and prepped it right, I won't get any paint delamination. So now you'll see the full color. There we go. Look at that. It's perfect. That's what I want. And when I do the rivets, pull the eyes, the nose, boop. And what I did is when I made these rivets, these masking, these are the same size as my Pocket Graphics Airbrush stencil series. So I'll bring up those little buggies here. And we'll show you how to incorporate those and use them for the rivets. Right, so now we should have that nice depth. See how that looks inset? So now it looks like this plate is above this plate. Really gives dimension. Looks like you can stick your hand underneath. That's what I want. I might even counter mask here and just put a little edge. Give it like a beveled look. And actually, maybe I will do that right now. Really simple. Watch this. This will give it extra. So I'm going to go in like a 1/16 of an inch. Really simple. That way I can put just a little edge light there. And that's going to make it look like the metal's chamfered a little bit. And just kind of basically get that little bit of a profile. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Cool. So, if you're in a studio, you do water-based, look into hydroponics. Hydroponics fans are nice, they're quiet. You can make a nice little vent system with them. Filter them out so you're not just, you're filtering before it goes out. There's a lot of good stuff out there. So watch, I'm gonna use that Dirty Penny color. We're just going to hit that edge. So now this should give a nice little... It's going to make that metal look a little thicker. Look at that. See that little bit? Now it gives it another edge. It's almost like edge highlighting a model. Yeah, I probably could have put a darker hitter on there. Maybe I will towards the end, but I think that's good enough for now. We'll see. We'll see where we go with it. Mike, if you want, go on my socials. Where's all my socials? Let me bring them up here. I had them. There we go. There we go. So those are all my channels. You have Facebook and Instagram. If you want, message me what you're looking for, and I can send you links to what I've used and what I've had luck with. If you want, I'd be happy to help you out. Just picking that mask out. Oh, come on, come on. There we go. There's the nose. All right. Yeah, I got an 8-inch one, and I got like a 8 to a 12-inch cone, so it'll do a nice suction. So, yep. Now, if you're using solvents and stuff, then you want to use a squirrel cage type, because most squirrel cage types are usually explosion proof, because the motor is encased separately from the paint passing by the vent. So if you are using heavy solvents, you definitely want to use explosion proof, like squirrel cage style. Because a lot of the hydroponic ones, you go in the solvent paint's going directly into the motor and through the motor, which if you do too much parts per million, it can be dangerous and it's not recommended. So I don't want to tell you to do anything that you're not supposed to do. Okay, so let's do some simple rivets here. Alright, so one of the ways I do rivets is using pocket graphics, where I'll do like, we'll do a drop shadow down here, heavy, right, like that, and then I'll use the positive, and we'll do a shadow up top, and see, you get a nice rivet, just like that. That's why these are so quick. You know, and if you want to do mineral staining, you can just kind of come down and like that. Easy peasy rivet. Simple. That's why I came up with these a long, 15 years ago or more. But this was the first one that started it. When I use my masking, I made these 1/4" ones so they match up with the pocket graphics ones. Because the pocket graphics do 1/16, 1/8, 1/4, half, or right, oh yeah, I got it written down. 1/2 inch, 3/8, 1/4, 3/16, and 1/16, or 1/8. Oh, 1/8. And those are the size of rivets that you can do. So what I do, when I use a plotter, I'll pre-do it the same size. I want to drop my pressure down a little bit. Now I can kind of do the staining ahead of time. And I'm going to reduce this a little bit more because I want it kind of runny at this point, because I really want to get some grit. Where's my 10mm? Yeah. I was working on my daughter's car this weekend while she was home, and it's a Mitsubishi, so everything's 10mm. And what's the one thing I had trouble finding? Goddamn 10mm. So I put a little bit more reducer so we can do some staining. Okay, just a little bit, nothing major. I'll use a darker color too, but I'm setting up with this. Ambrose going to which park do you work at, if you don't mind? So I do want to get, this is too clean. This is so dirty, this is too clean. So let's get some texture up in here. We'll use General Mendez's texture effects. Let's do a little texture and grit. Use West Virginia socket set. Too late, I saw it. Switch up to the multi. Rafa, thank you. Yeah, it's going to be a really cool project. I've been wanting to do this, and I did record a lot of what I did to get here, and that's why I did that little quick video. Just so you can see what I did to get here. And I didn't want, this isn't going to be like a how-to, but all these elements will be available. Oh, Chris Rich. Oh, God, I just lost my train of thought. Sorry. I was bullshitting about... Oh, the vector download set that's going to come out is going to include every element I used in this one. But I'm not going to release, like, this exact painting to copy as a how-to. but I'm going to do a video on how to put it together. And we are going to do those vector classes online really soon for those who want to really learn how to manipulate and create vectors on your own and do projects like this on your own from start to finish. But tonight's goal is to get this background done. And then I'm going to work through the rest. The train of thought has left the station. Right? I don't work. Salvage. Oh, no. Yeah, Collington. Yeah, I did a little bit. If you work, I don't know if you work in the Florida one. If you work in Florida, I know I taught a class years ago and got to know Brian Bimmer, was a guy down there that does a lot of paint work and stuff. Really good guy. And then Meg Billy, I've done some work with online and some different projects. She's great. Alright, so I'm going to go with that espresso shot. We're going to hit some darker staining. And then I'm going to hit the dark shadow up top. And then we'll do the core shadow inside using the pocket graphics. That'll give us that riveted look. Yeah, a lot of when I'm on a light surface, and I talk about this method of sequential masking, when I'm doing a sequential masking piece like this, I work from the lowest most piece and paint that, especially working in transparent colors, because these are all candies, like glazes or tints, and every stack is going to make the next one, the previous one darker. So you work from the 4 background layers, get that as dark as you can, and then work up the chain. If I'm on a black metal panel and I was doing this on a dark color surface, I'd flip it and I'd work from the foreground to the background. So a lot of times it depends on the substrate. Spending most of my career working automotive, you're typically on darker colors. So you have to learn how to pull your details working the other way. So if I'm on a dark surface, I do these rivets the opposite. I do the inside first and the out. It's just I flip it. When you do these rivets, the big thing you're doing is I'm not painting around the rivet to make the shadow. I'm actually painting half the mask. So I'm saying I'm using the mask as a tool, basically. It's actually a buffer zone because I can go a little bit heavier in the stencil and let the overspray get there. Oh yeah, I love the Cameo. The Cameo is the better of the two. Like when I'm not using my larger plot and my Roland, I'm using my Cameo. And I've been playing with my laser cutter now, laser cutting vinyl. I've been messing with that as well. I'm doing some little, I'm going to do some darker staining right here. Like it's got some age and grit and just staining. Moisture and blood and everything else coming down. Just making it look a little weathered. Yeah, I'm taking some of the shine out, but not all of it. And this is what I mean about you gotta be aware of your contrast. Because if you go too dark, then everything looks flat. But if you keep things lighter and darker, you'll start to make this panel look super thick. And it's just flat. You know, I want someone to think I cut this metal plate on top of this one, when it's all just one. Like I said, then we'll have a nice black border here. That's what's around this is the black relief. And I might design something to laser etch into this as well. I'm toying with that idea. Yeah, I guess it would be. This is kind of faux copper because it's anodized aluminum to look like copper. I couldn't get a copper plate this big in time locally. I was going to have to drive like 2 hours to get one, and I just didn't have time for it. So this is just a aluminum plate that's anodized copper. And then when I laser etched this, I just kept the power level really low so it didn't go all the way through. So it still kept it. See, now those symbols like are there, they're not. It's just going to be, like you can see with that angle, and then they're gone. You know, that's what I want when you clear it, so it just has a really cool look. Yeah, I'm going to do, you know, be limited to like 10 people at a time, maybe 12 max. Vector classes are coming up soon. I'm setting those up and getting those ready to go. Because I want to have some handouts that go with it, like, especially for the basics. And it's going to be done in Illustrator. I know Illustrator is expensive comparatively, but I promise you, everything I teach in Illustrator, with a little bit of figuring out what they're talking about words-wise, all the same techniques work in every program because they're all kind of based the same way. They all kind of work the same as Illustrator because, like, when you merge two shapes together, one program calls it merge, one program calls it unite, another program calls it weld. So it's all pretty similar. Alright, so now I'm going to pull these very gently because I don't want to scratch the end. So I'm using my pick tool. Get all these off. We'll get these rivets done. We're probably going to call it a night after this. Michael Cohen, you are the man. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Yeah, you know, look, I do a lot of mixed freehand and plot. It can get monotonous, man, doing plot work, but when you incorporate at the right time, when you do both, and you use the plot to set up the freehand, then it's really rewarding to do both. Like, when I did the rose vector set, I have a whole rose vector set that works really great for doing that. But, yeah, know as many techniques as possible, because there's always multiple ways to solve a problem. Cheers. Get myself a mule tonight. A Kentucky mule, actually. Alright. Alright, pocket graphics. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Alright. Working on a Spider-Man for my son, Freehand, because of size. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Spider-Man, sir. Tricky. Alright, so now, look. Pocket graphics fits right in. So now I can hit a darker shadow into here and create a rivet. So core shadow on the bottom. And you got the darker shadow up top, gives you a nice rounded rivet look. I can go back in if I need to and punch it some more. Same thing here. And then you can't use white for highlights. I'm going to show you a way to highlight them. Without, oh, see that one's a little off registration down here. We'll just tone it. There we go. That's what's nice about these. They line up. And you can always go freehand too and just do a little half crescent drop shadow to create that nice rivet look. Like here, watch. Because this is too big. So you're just doing like a crescent underneath to create that core shadow. Let that secondary light come off the bottom. And then I'll show you how to get that highlight here, because we can't use white. Whenever you're on a metallic or silver, you know, on black too, you get that blue shift. When you're on a metallic or silver, it's actually worse. You get a weird, like, almost a black reflection, because it cancels the light. So you gotta do an eradication technique. I gotta pick that up because it's a little low. Okay. Okay. Oh, if you got CS6, you're great. And Graphtec Cutter, you're all good to go. And even though if you go in, you can go right into from Illustrator to Graphtec, you'll be good. Okay, where is my eraser? Okay, so to get the highlights on here, what you want to do is just use an eraser. So I'm using the electric eraser. I can just pop in and see, I can get that erase the highlight. It might be a little too sharp. I'm going to back off just a hair. Just a little. See that? How that just popped it out? And if you don't have one of those, use the old erasing stick. Let's see if I can find a soft one. These ones are pretty firm. These are the firmer ones. But yeah, so you could use an eraser stick like this, and you can just go in. It's a nice little trick for edge highlighting too. You can erase down your color underneath. Whichever you like. And put that highlight there. We're going to do a lot of that in here. In here, same thing. Just and you can actually get in and just give it a little spin. There you go. A little spin. There you go. It's a little soft still because the paint's not fully dry. That's how I make that. That rivet's going to be a little gnarlier if it wasn't dry. But that gets you the background and the riveted plates. Like, that's a little harsh. I'm going to tone that down a little bit. I'm going to go back through and I'll use the lighter color. And we'll just tone that out a little bit. And just play with it till I like it. That's what she said. Sorry. Yeah. They're pretty much the same. Like, I do almost everything the same. There's some faster ways to do some things. There's some quicker workarounds. With the base program from CS6 to now, everything I did when I released my DVD through Airbrush Action years back, hold on. when I released my DVD through Airbrush Action, which was Plotter Mastery, man, that was a long time ago. 15 years ago or more. So when I released that, that was done in CS6, I think, or the first Creative Cloud 1, which when they got rid of the CS. Everything I did back in that DVD works now in the new system, if you just do it. The only thing you got to do different is when I do the 3D mold, you have to go to the legacy version versus the new one, but it all still works the same. So nothing really goes out. Photoshop, Illustrator, they add more features and make things more streamlined, but all the core stuff from way back in the day work. Like I learned from Scott Kelby, his books back in the day, and I learned a lot of different techniques out of there, and almost all those hold true. So yeah. Oh, you have that DVD. Someone's asked me about that the other day, and they don't make it anymore, and it can't be produced, and I don't have the license to reproduce it. So what I am going to do is, for members, it'll be for the members at first. I'm going to do the classes where we're going to have 10 or 12 people sign up, and we'll do a live workshop on Illustrator on how to vector and stuff like that. That'll eventually trickle out to become how-to videos down the road. But I'm basically going to redo Plotter Mastery on YouTube for all my members and subscribers first, all my paid members and patrons, and then I'll eventually edit that footage down to something I'll release down the road, snippets. But you guys will get the first dibs on it and help shape it and be part of it. So that's going to come in the near future. Yeah. So I think this was a good start for an hour and a half. Everything is ready to go. I like the direction it's going in. I like the tone. And yeah, I think we're doing pretty good. So this is where we're at. Let's do a shot. You can see how much depth and how that looks. It looks pretty cool. And that is how you do a really grimdark, gritty background. Direct onto anodized copper, aluminum, whichever you want to call it. Work the same way. As long as you prep it right, you're good. It is, if you scratch at this, it'll come off pretty easy, so you got to be gentle. It doesn't come off with like tape, see? Like I can go right to it, and nothing's peeling, so you can mask to it, you're fine. So you're not going to get D-lamps from that, but it is sensitive. I also put like erasing tools will rip it off pretty fast right now. So, and because this masking is here, you really can't put an inner coat. You could make like a counter mask and cover up all these cuts in dust, but just be careful with it and you'll be fine. Yeah, I'm planning on bringing this painting in my, I did this one a couple months ago on the channel. Since I think you'll like this one. This one I did, if you look back at my channel, I did this last year. And this was a cool Lichter piece I did. So there's a full, I think this was done in 2 hours. So maybe I'll bring that too. This one I was going to make, I might make prints of this if people are interested, and I might make prints of this one. So yeah, this one was pretty cool. This was one of the first Warhammer ones I did. Because I do like I think 2,500 points worth of bugs. So yeah, that is where we're at, kiddies. I want to thank everyone for popping in. I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad it's working out well. It gives you a little taste on. I've been wanting to do a painting that's more involved, less like quick, less down and dirty tricks quick. I want to do something a little bit more intricate, that's a little bit more process driven, which is why I wasn't going to do it as just like a $200, $250 bid piece. This is going to be a painting. I'll probably have 8 to 10 and 12 hours in this by the time I'm done. I think I already got that in design. I probably already got 5 to 7 hours of design, implementation, all the laser cutting and prep to make it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the feed, and I will come back Thursday night, 8 p.m., and we will wrap this baby up, rewatch it, mix the paint. These colors work with, this would be a great color set to do the Killing Time piece from a few weeks ago. If you got that downloaded, this would be awesome with it. This is also the colors I did for the dirt track racer piece. I used these same colors with it. Some of the pirate pieces this could be cool with. So yeah, this is a great color set. For those who missed it, these are the colors we're using tonight. So you can mix these colors up yourself and mess around with them. So see you guys soon. Thanks for popping in. I'll see you guys Thursday night on Airbrush Down Dirty Tricks. Peace. Have a good night. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that crap. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.